Now, you're watching special election coverage from WANE15, your local election headquarters.
Good evening. Indiana polls have been closed for 2 hours, and the Republican Party is claiming a big victory.
Representative Jim Banks says he's defeated his opponent, Democrat Courtney Tritch, and I believe he is speaking now live at Republican headquarters downtown. Let's see if we can head that way and listen in.
My pledge to you tonight is that I will work just as hard for you over the next 2 years, and I won't take lightly this incredible privilege to serve. I am grateful for this opportunity, for the support of my constituents, for the family and friends in my life, and for the wonderful privilege to live in this, the greatest country in the world. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your support, and may God bless the United States of America.
So again, that is Congressman Jim Banks claiming victory early in the night as far as these things go. This race, from his point of view, seemed to wrap up rather quickly.
Yes, his opponent, Courtney Tritch, has not conceded. Let us once again say Courtney Tritch has not conceded, but Banks is already claiming victory. Yes,
and again, nationally, various news outlets have declared him the winner, which is probably how he got that result and feels confident enough to go. We see there with about a third of the precincts reporting, he does have a rather sizable lead, but again, we don't know where those votes come from at this time. Again, it's painted to be a city race versus the rest of the rural race, but at this point, Jim Banks is claiming victory tonight in that 3rd district. In about 25 minutes, we will be heading out to the Democratic headquarters, so be sure to stay tuned to News Channel 15. Now, let's go back to programming.
Now, you're watching special election coverage from WANE15, your local election headquarters.
Republicans are claiming victory tonight in Indiana's 3rd congressional district. Representative Jim Banks has defeated his opponent, Democrat Courtney Tritch.
The head of Allen County Democratic Party, though, says this race is still too close to call or too soon to call the race, but the Associated Press has called the race for Jim Banks. WANE15's Chris Darby joins us live from the Allen County Republican headquarters, where Congressman Banks spoke just about 25 minutes ago. Chris?
Yeah, it's a little bit different than the last time we checked in here where things were quiet. It is a party mode here. Jim Banks just about 15 minutes ago walked in the front door and straight to the podium and jumped right in with his victory speech, thanking his family and his campaign staff. But then we got to talk to him afterwards and find out what is next on his agenda. He talked about getting right back into the next session next week and getting back into work into this lame duck session. I asked him what it was like to be the first tally on the board. Obviously, the country is watching all of the House races, so this was huge for Banks to be the first one really to get that red tally on the board. Now, we heard that Tritch did concede, or sometime around the time that Jim Banks declared his victory here. We're going to give you a little bit of sound from what he had to say to us right after.
I'm humbled to have this incredible opportunity. I don't take it lightly. It's a privilege to serve, and I always keep that in mind when I walk onto the floor of the House, how much of an honor it is to serve the district.
Now, while the congressman walks around and shakes hands after winning his first re-election, we're keeping an eye on several other Republican races. We'll have updates for those throughout the night here on WANE TV, WANE.com as well, and on social media. Hope you'll join us there. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Chris. Another race that Republicans and Democrats and the nation is keeping an eye on is that race for U.S. Senate.
WANE15's Kaitor K joins us live now from Indianapolis with the latest results there. Kaitor.
The Marriott Hotel here in downtown Indy is buzzing with excitement with Mike Braun up in the polls by 100,000 votes. I spoke with one Indiana Republican Party spokesperson. She smiled at me and said, "We are feeling good." Braun currently has 56% of the votes. Senator Joe Donnelly has 40%, and Libertarian Lucy Brenton has 4%. So Braun is beating Donnelly by 100,000 votes, with 25% of precincts reporting in. Braun has 375,000 votes, and Donnelly has about 265,000 votes. Braun is not down here in the reception with all this hustle and bustle. He is actually upstairs in his hotel room with his family, but we are told he is liking the results so far. We will keep you up to date on all the results for this U.S. Senate race throughout the night, reporting live in Indy. Kaitor K, WANE15 News.
All right, Kaitor, thank you. Purdue Fort Wayne political analyst Mike Wolf joins us now. Okay, you just saw Braun is ahead. What could this victory mean for the shift in Indiana?
Well, it depends on, we've got a lot of precincts left to go tonight, but certainly I think the third coming in so quickly is an indication that at least in the counties outside, that there was a heavy Republican turnout. I mean, we knew that the turnout was high.
Thank you, Mike.
But, yeah.
We're going to stop you there and rejoin CBS News. We'll see you on Facebook.
Now, you're watching special election coverage from WANE15, your local election headquarters.
All right, we hate to take you away from CBS analyzing the Indiana Senate race, but there's something going on here locally.
Yes. Courtney Trich is saying that she has lost the race to Jim Banks. Let's listen in now to her concession speech at Bergstaff Place.
But I want all of you to know that none of your efforts have been wasted. A year and a half ago, they told us we couldn't build a movement. A year and a half ago, they told us we couldn't raise money, and we outraised every other Democratic congressional candidate in this district. And before I walked in here tonight, I was informed that we are #1 in the country for the highest percentage of in-district donations. So we may not have won this evening, but I told you from the beginning, as you may remember, that this campaign was never about me. This campaign was about us. It's about us learning to use our voice in this district and in this country. And we cannot ever, ever back down from using our voices. So I need your reassurance that tonight is not the end for you, that you will continue your voice from this day forward. Can you commit to that? And I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for believing in this campaign from the beginning. And I know I have many of my leadership team members here and our staff members, if you're here, please raise your hand. These people were my backbone.
You heard it, Courtney Trich conceding the race for the 3rd District Congressional seat. We are going to have more in about 5 minutes.
And we'll also have more at WANE.com, and you can also find more, of course, on our app as well. We will be back here to talk about Mike Wolf from Purdue Fort Wayne about what this means. We rejoined CBS in progress.
Now, you're watching special election coverage from WANE15, your local election headquarters.
Again, tonight we continue to cover the 3rd District Congressional race. Republicans are claiming victory. Mike Wolf will join us hopefully here soon. Jim Banks has defeated his opponent, Democrat Courtney Trich.
The Associated Press has called the race for Banks, and Trich has conceded. We just heard from her not too long ago. WANE15's Angelica Robinson joins us live now from the Bergstaff Place where Trich just spoke. Angelica.
Moments after the incumbent Republican candidate Jim Banks declared victory over the 3rd Congressional District, Democratic candidate Courtney Trich conceded. She just took the stage moments ago with that concession speech. It was an emotional one for her and for the people here who were listening to her speech. What she says is that this is not the end of the road for her, and she says this campaign was not just about her. It was about learning to use our voices and to continue to use the voice. She didn't say what was next for her, but she did say that this was not the end. But she went on to say that these results were obviously not what she had hoped for, but she called this campaign a historic one. She also thanked her supporters for countless hours spent making calls and knocking on doors, and she said that their efforts doing that were not in vain. Towards the end, the crowd began to chant for her, and many of them still have campaign signs. They began to chant her name, Courtney, as she walked off the stage, very emotional towards the end of this speech. Now, we do plan to talk with her to have a one-on-one to get her reaction to the results of this race. We will bring you that information as soon as we have that. For now, I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Angelica, thank you. And now let's take a moment to check in with Kaitor K. He is live in Indianapolis, closely watching the U.S. Senate race. Kaitor.
We are downtown at the Marriott Hotel, where the Indiana Republican Party is here for Mike Braun, and to say that there is an excitement that cannot be contained would be an understatement. Just moments ago, the words, actually you can hear it now, they're still cheering. The words Mike Braun, projected winner, came up on the screen, and the room went on in an uproar for about 30 seconds. Now everyone in the room has moved up to watch the screens. They're cheering. I can hear chatter about the GOP is going to take over this nation. And now, also, we just spoke to Mike Braun's spokesperson, and they say he is up in his room with his family celebrating, and that at some point tonight, he will make his way down here to give a victory speech. So reporting live in downtown Indy, Kaitor K, WANE15 News.
Kaitor, thank you. Again, that is the one national organization that has called that race. Not all of them will agree. We want to bring in Mike Wolf from Purdue Fort Wayne. Does that surprise you at all?
Well, it's early, and we still have a lot of the larger cities to go. So, but that's a pretty big margin at this point. So, and from some of the analysis, some of the counties compared to the 2012 are a little bit bigger in the ones that have reported. So it gives pretty healthy, that's a pretty healthy distance right there.
In the 10 seconds we have left, Courtney Tritch, could she run again for something else? Do you expect to see her run again?
Yeah, she ran a great campaign. Even Representative Banks gave her credit for that. So I would expect to see her again.
Mike, thank you. And we'll be back in about a half hour with another election update.
Now, you're watching special election coverage from WANE15, your local election headquarters.
Good evening. This is shaping up to be a very exciting night for Indiana Republicans. Two big races, two big victories.
Just a short time ago, CBS News called the U.S. Senate race, and earlier this evening in downtown Fort Wayne, Jim Banks accepted the win for the 3rd District race at the Republican headquarters, where we find our Chris Darby. Chris?
Yeah, things are quieting down a little bit, really hitting the peak when Jim Banks was here giving his victory speech. Obviously, Allen County leading the way kind of in the state as far as Republican support, with the big results for Jim Banks and now Mike Braun, as we're hearing in Indy. This is a big night here at the Republican Party. And join me now, once again, Steve Shine, chair of the Republican Party here in Allen County. How are you feeling about the night?
I'm feeling great. As I said to the audience, this is a great night to be a Republican in Allen County. When you look across the board to see who won, every major race was won by a Republican. Mike Braun, Jim Banks, Tara Klutz for auditor, Connie Lawson, Secretary of State, Kelly Mitchell, on and on it goes with Republicans winning. And it's very gratifying, because when you look at what the Democrats threw at the Allen County Republican Party and all of our candidates running this year, it was a great effort by them to make an impact, and it fell woefully short. It's been an outstanding, stellar performance by the Allen County GOP.
Obviously, we talked about Braun and Donnelly's race. We talked about the Banks and Tritch race. Some of the other things going on. Sheriff stepped in here for a couple of minutes. Looks like he's going to be reelected as well.
The sheriff was reelected. We have one close race with Martin Carball. We're hopeful that because of the fact not nearly all the votes are in on that race, that he will prevail. But other than that close race, it's a Republican sweep across Allen County for these midterm elections. It was very helpful that the president was in here yesterday. Basically, it was a reaffirmation by the voting public of the Trump agenda and what they have approved of going forward in 2018 to let the president complete what he has started by making America great again.
We've talked about the state level and the team surrounding Erica Holcomb. Now we have one of Fort Wayne's own being elected down there with Tara Klutz and the auditor. How do you feel about that?
I think it's wonderful. Tara Klutz is the first person in Indiana history to serve in the auditor's office that has a CPA. She's brought a lot of transparency to the office. She has a portal which shows every penny spent by the state. You can find out what a ream of paper costs the state if you look on her transparency portal. That's what it's all about, of keeping the voters informed of how government operates. So again, we're very proud to have Tara Klutz serve as a statewide office holder. It's not often that someone from our hometown can be elected by all the people of the state of Indiana, and she was done so resoundingly.
Wonderfully. Well, thanks for joining us here
Chris.
tonight.
Nice to be here on Wayne TV.
Absolutely. We'll keep working the numbers here at the GOP headquarters downtown. For now, we'll send it back to you guys.
All right, again, you can find all these results on WANE.com, but the top of the ticket so far is going very red, and that's a big night for the folks down there at GOP headquarters.
And keep in mind, there are also big races in Ohio as well. We're going to be covering all the results for you on air, on WANE.com, and on your mobile app. Keep it right here for election coverage that you can count on.
Now, you're watching special election coverage from WANE15, your local election headquarters.
We are breaking in after learning that we have just learned that incumbent Joe Donnelly has given a concession speech.
We will show you there what we see in Indianapolis. We believe he wrapped things up rather quickly. You see some of the hugs. Obviously, the mood there is not what they were hoping for when the night began. So again, Joe Donnelly appears to have accepted the results of these national outlets that have called the race for Mike Braun, the challenger, in a bit of a surprise in one of the most closely watched races in the country.
WANE15's Kai Torquay is in Indianapolis. He is going to actually give us a live report from Mike Braun's headquarters to talk about the victory. This is an incredible victory because the Republicans were not sure if they were going to be able to take this seat. And now they have. So we will have more on this coming up in about 25 minutes.
You can find more continuing breaking results at WANE.com. And again, stick with us here and we'll bring you the latest in this election 2018.
Now, you're watching special election coverage from WANE15, your local election headquarters.
Welcome back. Republican Mike Braun is about to give his victory speech tonight in Indianapolis.
Let's listen in as he thanks supporters for winning the U.S. Senate seat over incumbent Senator Joe Donnelly.
Nice. Hey, Jasper! Hey, Jasper! Jasper! North County! Jasper! Nice. Nice.
Hello, Indiana! Wow. Wow, what a journey this last 2 years has been. You know, I want to start tonight, as I think we always should, by thanking God for the wisdom to help Hoosiers elect Mike Braun. And I want to thank some special folks right off the bat. These are the folks who 2 years ago or so committed to this journey with the Mike Braun campaign, the Indiana Republican Party, the Republican National Committee, folks like Josh Kelly, Mike Gentry, Ben Mitchell, Pete Seat, Matt Huckleby.
So again, you were watching live coverage from Indianapolis as Mike Braun prepares to take the stage for his victory speech, and his campaign workers are going through a list of thank yous in a lengthy campaign. We were told that Mike Braun would take the stage here about 45 seconds ago, so we are waiting at any moment for him to actually come on. You can see that he was victorious in unseating incumbent Democratic Senator Joe Donnelly.
Yes, we have 58% of the precincts reporting in, and as Dirk said, you can tell that Braun here is a clear victor in this race for U.S. Senate. And we're still waiting for him to actually take the podium to give his victory speech.
It was interesting that earlier in many of those polls, Lucy Brenton showed a much higher percentage than the 4% there. Now, we don't know what the final results will be, but that may have been the factor in people not voting Libertarian and staying home and voting Republican. A lot of those Republican voters not switching over like some folks thought they might.
Yeah, our political analyst, Mike Wolf, actually said that she might be like the X factor in terms of taking some of the votes away from both Donnelly and Braun. So we see her, she has 4% here, and we're still, getting results in. So you have to wonder how much she was a factor in this race.
If you're just joining WANE15, earlier tonight, Joe Donnelly did concede this race, so now we are waiting for Mike Braun from Indianapolis to take to the stage and give his victory speech. Here is what's basically going to happen as we continue to wait on that happening down in Indianapolis.
So let's check back in again and see if he's actually got to the podium yet. Let's take
and as Hoosier Republicans, we appreciate the trust that they continue to place in us by electing us year after year to office. They elected in 2016 Governor Holcomb and Lieutenant Governor Crouch and Senator Young. They've given us They've blessed us by electing us to supermajorities in the House and Senate here at the state level. Tonight, Hoosiers are re-electing all 7 of our congressional members. And they have re-elected our statewide all-star trio of Connie Lawson, Tara Klutz, and Kelly Mitchell. But when we set those goals 2 years ago, we always had to say there had to be that one big audacious goal, and that was to get the one spot that we did not hold from a statewide level. And we've worked every day for the last 2 years to accomplish that, and I am proud to announce and ask to come to the stage our new Senator-elect, Mike Braun.
What a journey this has been. Do you remember, dear, when I said that I was going to run for Senate? And do you remember when I said everybody said, do you need to have your head examined? She did too. Tell you what, so many people to thank, but it starts right here. My dear wife. And we made a big decision many, many years ago to come back to our hometown. And that wasn't typical back in 1978. And we did it for one reason. We wanted to raise a family, wanted to have a chance at starting our own businesses. Very simple plan, and by golly, it worked out. The kids are here on the stage with me, 2 of my grandkids. Truly, dear, we've lived the American dream. Really has. I see so many of you out there. I see Terry, the other Terry, Seitz from Mayor. Yeah, these guys, lots of Terrys. I've made so many friends, and in these 15 months that I've been out doing this, imagine every time I've been on the road, I haven't stayed in a motel or hotel more than 4 or 5 times. People have put me up, made friends with Hoosiers, the way a campaign like this should be. And I want to thank all Hoosiers for giving me a resounding victory, putting your faith in me, and I will not let you down. I promise that. Senator Donnelly called me about 15 minutes ago. Yeah? And just like any competition, you fight hard, you want to win, you got to make your case. And we did it. The one thing I would love to see change in politics is it's gotten way too nasty on both sides. Yeah. It should be about ideas. It should be about what you bring to the table, and both sides and their families have had to carry that burden and the weight. Hope that changes down the road. And then you look at other things. When I decided to do this, I wouldn't have done it, and I mention it almost everywhere I go, if it had been President Hillary Clinton. I'd be hunkered down in southern Indiana trying to survive. And, you know, and I make that point because we as conservatives, being led by President Trump, we've got to prove why our way of thinking, why what works in the state of Indiana is going to work for the rest of America. And I really believe...
You have been listening to Mike Braun giving his victory speech after defeating incumbent Joe Donnelly for the U.S. Senate seat. He gave that speech from Indianapolis.
So the state of Indiana holds for the Republicans. What will the rest of the nation do? We rejoin CBS News to find out more.
Now, you're watching special election coverage from WANE15, your local election headquarters.
As you just heard, the Republicans keeping control of the Senate, and the party here in Indiana is celebrating a major victory here in the U.S. Senate.
Mike Braun defeated incumbent Senator Joe Donnelly. WANE15's Kai Torkay joins us live now from Indianapolis, where the big party is just getting started. Kai Tor.
All the vibes are positive here at the Marriott Hotel in downtown Indianapolis. Mike Braun just gave his victory speech. He is now Senator-elect. And here to give some reaction to this night is U.S. Senator for Indiana, Todd Young. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'm just so proud of Mike Braun and his whole team, and really excited. I mean, this is a vindication of the economic policies, of the national security policies, of all the good things we've been working on in Washington on behalf of the people of Indiana.
All right, now Mr. Braun said something very interesting. He said when he first decided to run, people thought that he should have got his head examined.
Well, I mean, this is not an easy business. This has been a tough campaign, a spirited campaign, but really proud of how it ended up and where Hoosiers ended up with respect to casting their votes.
Now with this big night in the books, what's next? What do you think is next for your party?
Well, we're going to roll up our sleeves and get to work. We're going to continue to make sure that we have qualified judges on the federal bench. We're going to continue to make sure this economy is moving and the wages are rising so that all Hoosiers can meaningfully participate in the economy, and continue to make the case for the conservative leadership that I've tried to bring to Washington on behalf of the people of Indiana.
So have you got a little bit of time with Mr. Braun yet, and what did you say to him when you saw him?
Well, of course, big hug, big congratulations. I've spent a lot of time with Mike Braun in recent weeks and months, offering encouragement, helping his campaign however I can. But in the end, this is a huge victory for the people of Indiana, and I think they're going to be really proud of Senator Mike Braun.
Any advice for your new fellow senator?
Look for opportunities to work with anyone who will work with you, Republican or Democrat, on good economic policies, on good national security policies. If you do that, you're sure to find some common ground here and there.
Okay, thank you very much, Senator, for joining us.
Thank you.
So we will be right back here, downtown Indianapolis at 11 o'clock for a full recap on the night, reporting live in downtown Indy. Kai Torkay, WANE15 News.
All right, Kai Tor, thank you. Senator Young touting a big win for the Republicans pretty much across the board in many of the key races. Earlier today, at about 2 hours after the polls closed, Congressman Banks gave his victory speech, and Courtney Tritch gave her concession speech a short time later.
Yeah, it was rather remarkable how quickly things seemed to unfold, and that we had winners declared rather early, 8 o'clock or even sooner there in the Banks-Tritch race. And then not that far after, we had this winner declared. I thought this might go down to counting the very last vote in the Donnelly-Braun race.
But not the case
not
whatsoever.
The case at all.
You can find a list of more races and results right now by going to our website, WANE.com, and checking out the WANE15 mobile app. You'll also find other coverage from the midterm elections as well.
See you on Nightcast at 11.